Hello, my name is Ghiselle and this is my podcast Smells Like New Talent. In this podcast I talk to several upcoming musicians about them, their music and their future visions. If you are looking for new music, this is the place to be. This episode, The Holy Veins.
I try to run away, I do. But every breath is another step towards the memory of you. I've tried to drown myself, but all that I can do is breathe. And I can hardly close my eyes, cause when I do, you are the only one I see.
Cason, former of the Holy Veins. Hello and welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great, how are you?
So good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Could you quickly introduce yourself and your solo project / band, The Holy Veins?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Cason. I'm the singer, guitar player, and producer for The Holy Veins.
Cool. So you play various instruments. What was the first instrument you ever touched and maybe got you into music?
Sure. So the first one I ever played was piano. My dad is a musician, and he had bought this little keyboard for us to have around the house. So that was, I think, technically the first instrument I ever played. He might have taught me a little song or two, and but the first one I really sat down and learned how to play myself was guitar. Okay. And when I started playing guitar, my brother got a drum set, so that was my introduction to drums, and kind of just went from there. But yeah, so technically piano, but I usually say guitar because that was sort of the first one I was really serious about.
And do you have a favorite instrument or?
It changes. It depends, I think, on the kind of music I'm playing too. For something like metal or hard rock, I love playing drums.
Yeah.
I love guitar for that stuff too. I play guitar in this sort of 60s, 70s kind of rock band, and so I love playing guitar for that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it depends on the situation, but I'll play anything, you know.
Yeah. So were there any artists in particular you listened to growing up?
Sure. A really big one for me has always been Guns N' Roses. That was sort of the first band that really made me want to do this as a career. So definitely Guns N' Roses. I love Muse, Panic at the Disco, Avenged Sevenfold. It's probably my favorite band. Who else? Queen. Awesome. My dad showed me a lot of country music growing up.
Okay.
So that was a lot of what I listened to when I was younger, and then my mom started to get me into classic rock. She's a really big fan of Boston and Journey and Styx, Foreigner, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I kind of grew up listening to everything.
Yeah. And if I'm right, you've been in a few bands before you started the Holy Veins. What kind of bands were that, and what did you do in those bands?
So my first ever band I was in was sort of a metalcore, screamo, whatever you want to call it, a band when I was in high school, and I played drums for that one. It was very old school Avenged Sevenfold, Bullet for My Valentine kind of hardcore screamo stuff. So I played drums in that one, and then played drums in a folk band right after that. And then when I moved to New York, I played in another folk band. I have filled in for some progressive metal instrumental bands, and I have some singer-songwriter friends as well that I'll play live with them. Sometimes to fill out their live band, and so a little bit of everything.
Cool. So in 2018, the independent film 700 Miles was released, and you made the original score for it. How does that work? Do you get to see the movie and have to make something that fits it, or how did that go?
Yeah, so that one was actually a unique experience because I was also in the film. Okay. So I kind of got this added layer of getting to, read the script beforehand and, being in the film and shooting the film. I kind of got to get really familiar with it that way. So that was my first exposure to it, was actually acting in it. And then when it came time to do the score, basically it started with, I got a really rough cut of the film. And that was sort of my first version to start off of. And so I started bouncing ideas back and forth with, with the director. And yeah, it was a very, very collaborative process with both of the directors for that. I would sort of, record some things, send them ideas. They'd send feedback, we'd go back and forth. And I kind of, just as they would have new versions of the edit, I would get those and we'd make changes and that kind of thing. So, a lot of sending files back and forth. I was in New York at the time, and my friend Cameron, who actually wrote the bass part for Drown and co-produced that with me, he directed the film with our friend Carlos, and so he was in Austin, Texas at the time. Okay. So I was sending stuff back and forth a lot, and very thankful for the internet.
So then you decided to start the Holy Veins solo project. Why did you decide to do it solo?
I like you mentioned, I've played in a lot of bands, and I think I kind of wanted a chance to see what I had to offer, kind of by myself. I had a lot of influences like Queen and Panic at the Disco and Muse and that kind of thing. I had a lot of influences that I felt they didn't really fit in some of the other bands that I was in, and I kind of wanted a chance to utilize all of my influences, and so I think that's where it started. I kind of wanted to see what I had to offer musically, just with the rest of the influences I have, and I've always wanted to sing in a band too, and so I was kind of a combination of both of those, and I think it was sort of just a test for me to kind of see what I could do on my own.
Yeah. So and where did the name The Holy Veins come from?
Yeah. So I have always liked the word veins. I've always wanted to use that in a band name somewhere. Ryan Ross from Panic at the Disco, he has a band called the Young Veins, and so that was the first time I remember being like, oh, that sounds cool. Yeah. So I've always liked that, and then I wanted to do something like holy that was a little bit larger than life. It almost feels like royal, or sort of just very like official and just sort of larger than life. And I think that's fun. I think I wanted to do something that would, because all of my favorite music is that way. I love things that are theatrical and dramatic, and so I wanted to have a word that was like that and had a little bit of attitude with it. And so that's how that happened, through those two together.
Cool. So when I heard your music for the first time, it reminded me of Daft Punk, and I immediately thought of them wearing helmets all the time to create this kind of alter ego. Is it something you want to do too, to create an alter ego, or do you think it's important to just be yourself?
I think for this project, I want to be myself, but I think stuff like that is so fun, and I love Daft Punk. They're one of my favorites. I think for this project, I kind of want to keep it just as Cason Day, but I love that stuff. That's not to say in the future I might not change my mind. Who knows? But for now, it's Cason Day, I think.
Yeah. So your bio says the Holy Veins is a musical movement for a generation that wants to feel something new. Could you explain that?
Yeah, something that's been really important to me to do with the Holy Veins. I feel like a lot of artists today play things very safe. I feel like a lot of music sounds the same. I feel like even with, what people wear on stage, I feel like it's not always super exciting. Not that it always has to be, but a lot of the music I love, like I said, is very theatrical and larger than life. And a lot of those first musicians I got into, they're these rock stars, they're these magical people. Anyway, I feel like a lot of bands have lost just even the desire to be larger than life like that. And so that's one part of it. And then I feel like people musically don't try that hard to be original anymore. I feel like there's a lot of people that find a formula that works, and they write music that they think they're supposed to write, or they just aren't doing things that are exciting. And it was really important to me to try and do that. For better or for worse, I think that Drown is a song that is unique compared to a lot of other music that's out there right now. And I want to bring a lot of that back, a lot of the originality and, the theatricality and kind of all of that stuff. I want to bring back, the reasons that I fell in love with music and performing in the first place. I want to try and, bring some of that back.
Yeah. And I think the whole picture must be important for you too then. You of course have to communicate that message via your music, but also, showmanship, maybe other forms of art. You're an actor too. These things can play a role in creating that movement and communicating that message, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And, like you said, I want that to extend, to all aspects of this, from the showmanship and even music videos and lyric videos, and even the way I dress in photo shoots. I want it to be exciting.
Yeah. About music videos, have you ever thought about playing in your own music video?
Yeah, my next. So I have an acoustic version of Drown that I want to put out, and then I'm doing a remix of Drown with this really talented singer, Cassidy, that lives in Berlin. We got connected on Instagram, and so we're doing a remix. But after that, my actual next song is going to be this song called "Say That You Will," and I would love to do a music video for that song. I have some fun ideas for that, so hopefully we can make that happen. But I would definitely love to do some music videos pretty soon.
Yeah, awesome. So there's not really a genre put to your music, but how does that Holy Veins sound arise? Which influences make it sound like it sounds?
Yeah, so for Drown, I think Daft Punk. It's definitely a huge one. They're the kings of, you know, that vocoder electronic sound. And Daft Punk was a big one. David Bowie. I feel like it's very David Bowie-esque. I got the original idea for the main guitar riff from the song Dead Inside by Muse.
Okay.
There's a little guitar part in the chorus that they play. It's this sort of staccato, just, you know, single notes, little guitar riff that I wanted to write something like that. And that ended up becoming the intro for Drown. And those are probably the three biggest ones: Muse, David Bowie, and Daft Punk for this one. But some of my other stuff is very rock. There's sort of a ballad-ish song on the EP. But yeah, I'm really trying to kind of use all of my influences. So Say That You Will, for example, that one's a lot heavier and feels a lot more kind of old school Muse to me. And there's a band called Dead Z that I really like that I was really inspired by them for that song. And I try to use all my influences for kind of all this stuff. And I try not to force, this is going to be a rock song or this is going to be an electronic song. I try really hard to kind of just write what I write and then decide if I like it or not. It kind of comes from everywhere.
So at the end of July, you dropped Drown. And if I'm right, this is the first time you wrote, recorded, produced, and mixed a track yourself. How did that whole process go?
You are correct. It's the first time I've done all of that myself. I've been lucky to play in a band with my friend Tanner Lackey. He is an audio engineer. You know, he does live sound. He does stuff in the studio. He's a super talented dude. And so I've been really lucky to spend a lot of time with him over the past couple of years. And I just became so fascinated with watching him, do the audio engineering side of things. And even in my metal band in high school, our guitar player was starting to get really into the music production side of music. And so that's something that had always interested me. So sort of in the spirit of wanting to, really make the Holy Veins a solo project and to kind of see what I had to offer. I wanted to see what I had to offer production wise too. I reached out to my friend Tanner and kind of got a lot of help along the way. And I have a buddy, Adam Tilzer, that helps me out a lot too. Very fortunate to be surrounded by people that know what they're doing. It was that's sort of how that got started, and I've just tried to learn more and more as I go, and I just kind of wanted to see what it would sound like if I did it myself, and I'm really excited with how it turned out. And like I said, very very thankful to have the help that I have.
Yeah. So how did those ideas for the song come to your mind? Was it just playing around a bit on your guitar or something, and that it resulted in a song? Or you mentioned the Muse song already, but how did it come together?
So I think I was trying to write. I had listened to the Muse song, and I was wanting to write something like that. So that's how the guitar riff happened, and then I think once I sort of solidified what the intro was going to sound like, that gave me an idea for kind of the rest of the song. And I knew I wanted it to be funky, and I wanted it to almost sort of have an electronic kind of dance vibe to it. And so that was a very active decision. And then the vocoder Daft Punk stuff actually didn't happen till towards the end of recording. It used to be just me singing the chorus melody by myself, just, you know, normal vocals or whatever. And yeah, I had just been listening to a lot of Daft Punk. Random Access Memories is one of my favorite albums ever. And I had been listening to that a ton, and I just got curious what it would sound like with the vocoder stuff on it, and I was like, oh, I have to keep this. This is so fun. And yeah, I showed it to my friend Tanner, my friend Cameron Bishop that I mentioned earlier. He co-produced the song with me, and so yeah, I sent it to him, and he was really stoked about it. So yeah, and then as far as the lyrics, the chorus has always stayed the same. That's pretty much exactly how I wrote it the first time. The verse lyrics, I don't think anything is the same from the first time I wrote it. I had this original set of lyrics and an original, you know, melody and rhythm, and it just didn't feel strong enough. So I rewrote it. So yeah, I kind of wrote this one in pieces. I wrote the original guitar riff probably 5 years ago. So I've had that riff forever. And then, kind of along the way I would put these other pieces to it. So, it sort of came together all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the song about?
It's a song about... It's a song about giving yourself to somebody and the ways that can be really harmful sometimes, you know, and kind of becoming so obsessed and infatuated with someone and giving so much of yourself to somebody, you know, that you kind of lose sight of who you are. And kind of, you know, the ways that you can get addicted to that, and you can get addicted to the hurt and to the sadness. And it's a song about that and about trying to kind of escape that.
Where did it go so wrong? How did we get so lost? Where did it go so wrong? Reaching out for you in the dark. In you I saw the face of God. How did we get so lost? I try to run away, I do. But every breath is another step towards the memory of you. I've tried to drown myself, but all that I can do is breathe. And I can hardly close my eyes, cause when I do, you are the only one I see.
You're a many-sided person, as we've already heard. But let's find out if you're also good at playing games. I ask the artist in every episode to answer as much this or that questions as possible in exactly 1 minute. So are you up to playing the game?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'll take my stopwatch. Yes. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Play music or listen to music?
Play music.
Drums or guitar?
Drums.
Pop or rock?
Rock.
Muse or Billie Eilish?
Ooh, Muse.
One hit wonder or never get famous?
I think one hit wonder.
Concert or festival?
Festival.
EU tour or US tour?
US tour.
80s or zeros?
80s.
Bach on guitar or Metallica by choir?
I'll sing Metallica by choir. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Upbeat or mellow?
Upbeat.
Fender or Gibson?
Gibson.
Band or singer-songwriter?
Band.
Collab with Daft Punk or Harry Styles?
Oh, man. I guess Daft Punk, right?
Yeah. Intro or outro?
Intro.
Time's up. You got 14 questions answered. That's
awesome.
That's last place. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Oh, okay. Oh, I got too excited.
But it's okay. It's okay. So I asked EU tour or US tour. You said US tour. You're from the US yourself. How do you look at Europe and the US concerning concerts and festivals?
Truthfully, I don't know a ton about kind of concerts and festivals in general outside of the US. Definitely, you know, when things hopefully return to some version of normal, you know, I would love to try and travel more. Cause yeah, I honestly don't know that much about it. You know, I know about a lot of the big festivals. You know, I would love to play Download one day, Rock am Ring and Rock im Park. I would love to play those. So I know some of the really big ones, but yeah, I would definitely love to kind of explore what all is out there, you know.
Yeah. So another question was collab with Daft Punk or Harry Styles. A difficult one. What's the reason for choosing Daft Punk?
I mean, I feel like right now, you know, the music that I have out, it's more in line with Daft Punk. And I would love to see it. I would love to hear their take on something like John. But, you know, that being said, I mean, Harry Styles is amazing.
Yeah, true.
That'd be so fun to work with him on, you know, maybe one of my slower songs or one of my poppier songs. You know, man, that was a hard one. That was a good question.
Yeah. So you released one song this far, but you mentioned a new EP already. Is that EP already finished, or are you still working on it?
It's totally written, and I've at least started recording each song. Really trying to take my time with it and make sure that everything is as close to perfect as I can get it. Definitely want to, just make sure I'm not rushing anything. So I've written the whole thing and I've started recording it. Okay. I have a couple songs totally done. Drown is obviously done.
Yeah.
I'm I'd say total I'm about 50% done. Okay. And I'm hoping to have that released some point early next year, you know, maybe February or March or somewhere around there. But yeah, I've at least gotten started on the whole thing. So.
Exciting. So what are your dreams? For this project? What do you want to achieve? That can be from releasing a vinyl to playing a certain show or make the world a better place. I don't know. What do you want to achieve?
Yeah, I like the last one you said, you know, making the world a better place. Music has been so important to me my whole life, and it's been there for me through some great times, through some tough times. You know, I've met some of my best friends in the world through music, and I think that's my answer. I want to make the world a better place. You know, I hope that my music one day can affect people the way that music has affected me. Yeah. Whether it's, you know, the music itself, whether it's, you know, somebody comes to see me play live, and I think I want my music to help make the world a little bit better.
Cool. Well, I really love Drown, and I look forward to hearing new music from you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to the 9th episode of the Smells Like New Talent podcast. If you are an upcoming musician and want to be featured in the next episode, please DM me on Instagram at smellslikenewtalent or send an email to smellslikenewtalent@gmail.com.